report suspected hate crimes by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip at tips.fbi.gov. The FBI works to protect all victims of crimes, regardless of their country of national origin or immigration status. The FBI encourages victims and witnesses of any hate-related incident to report it to law enforcement. This message sponsored by the FBI Las Vegas Division in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association of the station.
Catch all the exciting college basketball action at Hoop Central at the West Las Vegas, March 21st through the 23rd. Join us in the world's largest race and sports book, the Superbook. Or reserve a seat starting at $25 in the International Theater for Vegas' best basketball viewing party. Enjoy all the games on 15 huge HD screens, plus food and drink specials and awesome prize giveaways. Make your bets on the all-new Westgate mobile app with no fees on deposits. For more info, visit westgatelasvegas.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
JT from Woodson Bourbon Whiskey, Hall of Famer Charles Woodson built his legend on the gridiron, and now he's taking the same dedication to his new craft spirit line, Woodson Bourbon Whiskey.
What's up, Raider Nation?
Hey, can you gang hear me? That's the first thing I do every day. Everyone there can hear us? Yes. Yes. Hey, we're talking about Antonio Pierce's comments on Mahomes. Put that in the box. Let me know what you think.
All your favorite Raider Nation radio shows from anywhere.
It doesn't matter where they go. Raiders are regardless.
Listen live anytime on the Raiders app or on lvsportsnetwork.com.
Never miss another show. Stream us live or listen to past podcasts 24/7 at lvsportsnetwork.com. This is Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, KRFU Las Vegas.
You're listening to the JT the Brick Show, where the Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's time for JT the Brick.
I love you, JT.
Yeah, turn that up. Just turn that up a little bit in studio, the speaker here.
Do
Thanks,
all
thanks.
hands on deck.
Thanks.
I'm coming to get you. Bring the energy that I bring. Do something. Get out of the soft zone. I won't waste your time. Your time is valuable to me. I don't hold back on anything. We're doing our job. As I often say, Raider Nation unite. This would be a good time to pretend you're all in. Man, do I sound Mr. Wonderful and optimistic, huh?
JT the Brick.
I'm done with it. We got to clean it up. Done. Clean it up is over. It's put up or shut up week. There are no rules here. Bobby insists, no rules. That's kind of a hostile work environment for me. Too soft. I'm salty. I'm pissed off. But I want to see some violence. The wolves are at the door. This is it. You got me? This is it. Let's stop this. Let's get to work and do your job.
And now,
Let's go.
here
Out of the gate, JT live on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Are you excited? I'm excited. Every time I'm on the radio, I'm excited. I bring my A game. I got Bobby with me. I'm in studio and I'm on the live stream on YouTube where we already have 20 people in there. And I appreciate the people that are in there as we're building this thing slowly but the right way. Live streams, video. You can come into the heart of the Raider Nation here in our flagship studios. Go to the YouTube page, JT the Brick YT. It's in my bio on Twitter at JT the Brick. Just click on subscribe and like it, and you'll get notifications when we're jumping on, like I did last night with a 50-minute live stream where we talked about a lot of things. And we're brought to you by PTs. If you're in Las Vegas, you're in the state of Nevada, you understand how big it is. 64 plus taverns. There gotta be more than that now. I gotta check with Taryn and Ross and the team over there and find out how many taverns there are. Happy hour 5 to 7, midnight to 2. Midnight to 2 is great. Just don't drink and drive. Go there and get half price drinks. Get an Uber. You know, the Uber, Bobby, from my house from the SG bar is under $3. It's still under $3, and I tip more than that to my Uber drivers, my cab driver radio network. But it's nice when you can have a couple pops, a couple of Modelo's. Man, I got two of my biggest sponsors in the opening. Modelo, have a couple of Modelo's and hit the Uber app and be home in under $3. Take an Uber, don't drink and drive, especially in Vegas. You crazy, man? Be crazy out here in Vegas, man. It's nuts on the road out here. So we begin the show today as we are in the off season. We are in the dead zone of sports. I came up with that term. I can use it, but I don't treat any show like it's the dead zone. My job every day is to come in with passion and energy, give you something to talk about, react to. Hopefully you want to react to it, comment on it, and we do a talk show. It's talk radio. It's not just me talking for 2 hours. And we can have a lot of fun doing this because there's never an off season in the Raider Nation, but there are slow times. times when the coaches and the players and the wives and partners go away on vacation, times where there's nothing going on. This is not one of them because they're still tightening up the coaching staff. Joe Philbin comes in, Luke Getsy, who we debated and talked about. There's the ability to put the franchise tag on players if the Raiders want to or not. It's setting up the draft, which seems to be a big topic on the show. The draft. Oh my God, I'm worried. A couple of fans have been going a little bit bonkers on my Twitter feed. And a lot of Raider fans are already going. They want to have the draft tomorrow, Bobby. They want to have the draft tomorrow. Raider Nation wants to know tomorrow if Tom Telesco could trade up into the top 3 or not. They want to know tomorrow. No one has the answer. Q Myers doesn't have the answer. Lindsay, Vinny, Clay, I don't think anybody has the answer on that other than Tom Telesco, Mark Davis, Antonio Pierce. And they don't know yet because they don't know how the deck chairs are going to straighten out or not, or go overboard. All 3 quarterbacks could be gone in the first 3 picks. Usually that is the trend. When quarterbacks are available, teams want to get the quarterbacks. The Raiders need a quarterback. Last I looked, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't work out. Brian Hoyer, wow, that was really bad. Like Brian Hoyer, came in with a lot of experience. I was on the wrong side of that one in the Chicago game. Aiden O'Connell played well, but we're in the battle to beat Patrick Mahomes. And that's the focus of the monologue. Look, when it comes to Antonio Pierce's comments on the podcast with Max Crosby, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it. Just got back from Maui. Just trying to get the vibe of Raider fans, but everybody's talking about it. Everybody. Rich Eisen, great friend of the show, just did his last 10 minutes of his show on Antonio Pierce's comments about going after Mahomes, the head of the snake, and all of that. So woke up today, told my wife, I'm going to go dive into this topic. No benefit to me. No benefit to me. I get nothing out of it. I can only say something potentially wrong. So no benefit to me, and the show benefits me. That's how I make a living. So I understand where the fence line is, where the cliff is, where not to go to. And I don't have to worry about that. You've listened to me for over 25 years. I know what to say. I host the PG show. But I love the fact that this coach sent a shot across the bow at the Kansas City Chiefs after beating them and watching Kansas City win in our building. Antonio Pierce is not going to lay down to anyone, let alone Patrick Mahomes, as he's going for a 3-peat. Now, the problem with all this is that people want to protect the quarterback physically and mentally in this league. We want to protect the quarterback. We don't want to hurt the quarterback. We don't want to hit the quarterback. We want the quarterback to be ready on Sunday night on primetime on NBC and Monday Night Football. We don't have a TV show. Did you see the crap they put out this year? How many games that we had to watch a second or third string quarterback? It was a really big topic on this show. How many times did we tune into a game and it's like Gardner Minshew going up against Joe Flacco, or, the Jets are playing their third string quarterback, or someone's hurt. No one wants to get Mahomes hurt. We don't want Mahomes to be injured because we want to play Mahomes at full strength. I do. Every time we play the Chiefs, I want Mahomes to be on the field because it makes for great television. It makes for the rivalry. Look, Kansas City had to deal with Ken Stabler for a long time. They had to deal with Darryl LaMonica. They had to deal with Jim Plunkett, Rich Gannon. You want to see the teams at full strength. But once again, here's Antonio Pierce's comments on the Max Crosby podcast, where Antonio Pierce talked about this, and it's making a lot of noise around the NFL.
I'm calling out from now on as long as I'm here, the Patrick Mahomes. So you remember when Jordan was going through it with the Pistons, all those guys in the 80s before he came, Michael Jordan, Air Jordan, the Pistons used to whoop his. Anytime he came to the hole, elbows, feeling them, love taps. We touched them. We in the head, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I'm touching you.
All right, so he talked about love taps, and he talked about getting at Mahomes. What's wrong with that? I think that makes a lot of sense to me overall. We're going to get after the quarterback is what he said. Did he say it a bit aggressively? Yeah, he said it a bit aggressively. We're in a talk format, man. We're in podcast world. We're in Reels. We're in Sports Center. We're cutting up clips. That's what we do, man. We didn't do that 20 years ago. There was none of this available. You had to wait till Sports Center at the top of the hour to get a soundbite. You had to wait till your late local news to find out what's happening with your team. Now in 2024, we find out in seconds around the world what's going to happen with our coach, our players, injuries, who's getting traded, who's getting fired, all this stuff. It happens every day. So Antonio Pierce said that, and I think everybody's handled it pretty well. My buddy Stephen A. Smith some of the morning shows, some of the debate shows, no one's really making this out to be worse than it is. You know, Mike Florio, who comes on this show a bunch, basically went out there and said the point that, you know, could the league revisit this? What is the league? The league's been quiet about it. What could the league say? I don't know what the league's going to say. I don't know. I don't think it's a final. I don't think Antonio Pierce should be fined by any means. I don't think he should be fined for saying that. But did he get close to getting the attention of a lot of people? Yeah, and that's good. I like that. I'm in the Raider Nation, man. I'm wearing a black hole shirt today. I'm in the black hole. I'm a member. I like when the head coach says this. I'm a season ticket holder. Hell with the radio show. Hell with the radio show. I'm a sports fan. That's what I do. I wake up every day. I think of my family first, my faith, and I think of my fandom. Then the radio show comes fourth, fifth, or sixth. I care about going to games and winning games. That is it. And hopefully I bring that to the radio show. Fandom, fandemonium, getting people excited about sports. Antonio Pierce really got it going. Rich Eisen just wrapped up the show and he said, well, that's red meat to Raider fans. You better believe it's red meat to the Raider fans out there. It's definitely red meat. Raider Nation wants something to talk about. They want to believe in their coach. They didn't believe in the last coach at all. I know. I was in the front line of that every day. Now they believe in this head coach, and we're all behind him to go take out Patrick Mahomes. Al Davis said the quarterback must go down hard in the first 15 plays. Great. Al Davis said it. The league wasn't going to touch Mr. Davis when he said anything. That gentleman was able to sue the league and win. Okay, they didn't want to go near that cage to get to that tiger in that cage when it comes to that. And it was a different time. So for Antonio Pierce saying that, deal with it. Someone clip that on my show and put it on some Raider website. Antonio Pierce says something, you got to deal with it now. You got to deal with it. But Kansas City's saying, you can't deal with us. We win the Super Bowl, we're a dynasty, and we beat you the majority of the time. Advantage Kansas City. Advantage Kansas City. They have the advantage over us in the Raider Nation. They are the reigning Super Bowl champions. They just became a dynasty in our world headquarters and in our stadium, and now they're going for a three-peat. I told you there could be a problem here. I didn't think they'd get to the Super Bowl. They shouldn't have gotten to the Super Bowl. Buffalo and Baltimore should have did us a favor in the Raider Nation. They did not. They didn't help us in any way. We helped. Raiders beat them on Christmas Day, gave them the blueprint on how to do it. Didn't complete a pass in the second, third, and fourth quarter and still won the game. How the hell do you do that? We gave them the blueprint, so much so that Andy Reid texted Antonio Pierce and said, basically, to paraphrase, thanks for the wake-up call. Thanks for the wake-up call, because it got Kansas City back on track. We even did Kansas City a favor. Oh, my God, OMG. We beat them and woke them up so they could go on one of the greatest runs in Super Bowl history. I repeat, one of the greatest runs in Super Bowl history. Dolphins, Bills, Ravens, 49ers. Oh, my God, that's a hell of a run. That's hard to do. And I've also told you the biggest problem for this team, which can be overcome, all you got to do is win more games in Kansas City, is the fact that Kansas City's now playing for history in a three-peat. Oh, God. How did that happen? If they would have just lost one game in the postseason, A, they wouldn't be a dynasty. B, they wouldn't have won their fourth Super Bowl overall, right? They've won 3 out of the last 5, 4 overall. And I think it probably, if they didn't win the Super Bowl, it would have been the decline of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now it's just the opposite. They're playing for a three-peat. They'll never be better. They'll never be more focused. They'll never have a bigger goal than they've ever had in the history of that franchise, period. Their number one goal in the history of their franchise is doing a three-peat and trying to come out and be the greatest team of all time. They are if they win. They're better. Patriots got more, but three-peats in the NFL don't happen. That would put them ahead of the Patriots. Short term is the greatest team of all time. Better than the 72 Dolphins, yes. Better than the Raider dynasty of 3 from 11, 15 to 18. If Kansas City wins 3 Super Bowls in a row, 4 out of 6, sorry, everybody. I apologize in advance. That's their motivation. And people are worried about Antonio Pierce saying we got to take the quarterback. We got to get to the quarterback. I mean, how sensitive are people now? How sensitive are people out there? Period. In general, they watch something on TV, they get all politically triggered. They watch something on a movie, they get politically triggered. They watch something on the local news, they're all nervous and worried about life. People are really, really triggered with everything. Antonio Pierce is not. So that's the show today. I got a bunch of other topics I'll get to, but I want to hear from Raider fans, specifically in the Raider Nation. You know, Rich Eisen, Colin Coward doesn't take calls for 30 years. Other shows don't take calls. You don't hear from Raider fans on the radio because people don't want to hear from the Raider Nation. They've been kicked to the curb on sports radio for 30 years outside this show and a few others. This is the home of the Raider Nation where Raider fans have a voice on this. So the other shows, a bunch of talking heads. You got radio hosts talking to board ops and backup producers. What do you think of Antonio Pierce? Well, who cares what the backup board op thinks of Antonio Pierce? That's another thing we're dealing with now in this era of sports radio. The guy in the third row, the clapper, the intern, turn up your mic. What do you think of Antonio Pierce? Like you give a crap. The guy on sports gambling radio. You don't have $5 in your wallet, but you're in on the Packer game. Why in on the Packer game? And that guy gets to speak for 3 minutes about how he's in on the game. Really? Can't afford lunch, and you're telling me who you're going to bet on the game? It's insanity out there. We need to hear from Raider fans on the coach. Unfortunately, I don't think the coach is getting a lot of heat on this one because he shouldn't. I think everybody in the media is saying, yeah, that's kind of cool. Man, the Raiders are the Raiders, man. Raiders got a Raider fan as their head coach who grew up in Compton, who loves the team and wants to win and is not afraid of Patrick Mahomes and wants to put him down legally. Trajans comes in. Lyra says it's football. You take the quarterback down. Hello, it's tackle football. I agree with that. A lot of people coming in on the live feed. Pig 76. AP going to have his testosterone capped by the league. I don't know about that, but AP clearly is a guy I want to hear talk more. Lorenzo says too many sensitive adults crying. Modelo time, JT, please. You're right. Greg Randall says Al Davis attended his first year in college, Wittenberg. My daughter will graduate there in May. I grew up 14 miles north of there. I wish I knew more about it. I don't know why I read that, but it was on my live stream. I'm learning about how to do the live stream. I like the phones to work. I'd like some people to call in from time to time and get me going. I still have Maui voice, 702-365-9200. As we're getting going here, Levi Edwards next hour. Bill Williamson wrote an interesting couple of columns. He's the longest tenured Raider insider, I believe, in the Raider world. He's going to join us here in a little bit. And the Night Owl says, JT, salute to the Raider Nation. This is not flag football. I would agree. There's some good flag football being played now because the league is afraid of football and concussions with kids. So they're posting videos of flag football all day long because they want you to play flag. That's an interesting topic. All right. One other thing I wanted to mention here in the monologue, which was a conversation I had with my wife last night. I got a 22 and 20-year-old son, and social media is a big part of all kids' lives. It is, and most of it's a sewer, and it's terrible. So yesterday on this show, I talked about Justin Fields unfollowing the Bears, and I said, that's kind of immature. That's really immature. Like, why would you unfollow the Bears? And my wife and my son both corrected me. They're like, no, if the guy's going on vacation, he doesn't want to look at his phone and see every scroll come by about the Bears. He knows he's getting traded. He knows he's out. And he unfollowed him. And I listened to my wife and my son, and I had a new perspective on it. I said, man, yeah, maybe you're right. I'm not 22. I'm not 24. Maybe it's good to turn off this sewer of Twitter, which blinks in the middle of the night next to my bed, and say, yeah, if you're a 24-year-old kid and you're Justin Fields, maybe you should bail out of Twitter and not follow the Bears because everything on the Bears feed is negative about you getting traded. Here's Justin Fields on unfollowing the Bears.
No. Since we're here, what's with the unfollow?
Man, bro, I'm glad we're talking about it because why do people take social media so serious? Like, why you unfollow the Bears? Like, I still mess with the Bears. I'm just trying to take a little break. I follow the Bears and the NFL, bro. I'm not just trying to have football on my timeline. Like, I know y'all mess with a girl, DQ, especially you. Just because you don't follow the girl on IG, don't mean you're not messing with her. That's true. That's facts. Oh, so you're saying you mess with the Bears as more now that you follow? Man, it's not even like that.
Okay,
It's something that I don't want to see my timeline. I'm about to go on vacation. I don't want to see no football. Guess what?
Just to get a little away for a little bit.
You see the key field. We want to see the draft papers. So it's like, bro, man, I'm tired of hearing the talk. I just want to be over.
All right, so that's part of that. And I kind of agree with him. I kind of agree with him. I just came back from a quick trip. Wasn't a vacation. 2 weeks is a vacation. A week is a vacation. He's going on vacation. He doesn't want to follow the Bears. Do I think there's some immaturity to that? Yeah. I mean, you're a face of a franchise. You want to be a face of another franchise. Every time that I've watched an athlete unfollow their team, it normally doesn't work out well. It normally doesn't work out well when they do that. They normally don't play for that team anymore. But my son pointed out Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray unfollowed the Arizona Cardinals and he got one of the richest contracts of all time. It worked for him. So with all that, I like your comments. And the Justin Fields situation is very murky in Raider Nation because Luke Getsy came here. So all you have to do is try to figure out a riddle to a puzzle. Did Luke Getsy come here to give the Raiders an advantage to get Justin Fields, who I think is a very good quarterback? I think he's a good quarterback. You know, he's 24 and Jaden Daniels is 23. You know that Justin Fields has 54 career touchdowns. Jaden Daniels has none, and they're a year apart. I mean, this guy, Justin Fields, is pretty good. If he was the quarterback of the Raiders, I'd be fine with it. I'd be fine with Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields all day long. All day long. Just like I told you sitting here last year when chaos was going on before Jimmy G, I'd be great with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Remember I said I'd pick up Aaron Rodgers at the airport. I'd hire a Maverick helicopter to go pick him up if he wanted to be the quarterback of the team. Now, I'd like to trade up and get Jaden Daniels at number 3, but I don't know if that's going to be too expensive and rich, and everybody wants to go out there and find a trade partner there. And that's going to be good content here for the show. So I gave you 2 topics to open up the show with. Antonio Pierce's comments from a fan's perspective, a Raider fan. What do you think about that? 702-365-9200. And are you sensing little mysterious ways? Is there a chance Justin Fields is coming here? Is there a smoke screen? Could he come? Everybody's saying Luke Getsy wanted to get away from him. I don't know that. I've never met Luke Getsy. I don't know. If Luke Getsy came here and wanted Justin Fields, I think it'd be pretty easy to connect the dots saying Luke Getsy wants Justin Fields and he came here first to bring him here. I don't sense that's the case. I don't sense today, at least today, I don't sense that Justin Fields is coming to the Raiders. But I got to fill 2 months of quarterback content, and there's only a handful of quarterbacks for me to discuss. The veterans, the rookies who might not be available, and some of the other players that could be available in a trade. And I think Justin Fields would be a second-round pick, and the Raiders could keep their first-round pick at 13 and get Justin Fields and get another starter on the offensive line or defensive tackle and have Justin Fields and give up a second-round pick. That's something I'm going to be looking at down the road. If it comes to fruition, we'll find out. Mr. Maui in Vegas, right here on 920. What's happening?
Well, I want to talk about swiveling garbage. I don't believe that even veteran quarterbacks that have already been through 3 or 4 teams and have ruined them. I would like to see the Raiders take someone out of the draft. And remember, it doesn't have to be pick number 1, 2, and 3. Look where Tom Brady came from.
Well, you already got. Oh, wait a second. You already got Aiden O'Connell in the 4th round. You want to wait for another? You already got a 4th round quarterback who can play. What do you want to get? A second? You want a second round? So you want a second round quarterback who might be a little bit better than Aiden O'Connell, and we'll fight it out between a 4th round pick and a 2nd round pick? Is that what you're telling me?
I love Aiden O'Connell, but let's get 2 of them. Let's get another one.
So you want 2 Aiden O'Connells to compete against 1 Patrick Mahomes, 1 Josh Allen, and one of these guys. You don't want a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes or a Justin Herbert. You want 2 Aiden O'Connells. Am I hearing this right?
I don't want garbage that's failed 3 other teams.
Who failed 3 other teams? I didn't mention anybody on the show that failed 3 other teams. Who's that?
No, you didn't have to mention it. I'm just saying I don't like swiveling garbage.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Maui. He doesn't like swiveling garbage. Did anybody understand what he just said? No, he makes a good point. He makes a very good point. If the Raiders aren't able to get a top 3 quarterback, they might get the next Aiden O'Connell, who's really good. I like Aiden O'Connell. I'm pro Aiden. O'Connell. I'm good with Aiden. See, he just said it. I'd want to have 2 Aiden O'Connells. That's the problem if you don't get Jaden Daniels. Now, is Bo Nix better than Aiden O'Connell on paper coming out of college? Yes. Is Michael Penix Jr. better than Aiden O'Connell coming out of college? Yes. I don't know if they'll be as good as Aiden O'Connell. Could Michael Penix and Bo Nix, who are older, I think, older than Justin Fields, can those guys go in and do what Aiden O'Connell did, lead the Raiders to the all-time franchise record in points, all-time, and win on Christmas in Kansas City? For those who say, well, Aiden didn't do much. No, he's the quarterback of the Raiders. Led the Raiders to a win on Christmas in Kansas City. I don't remember the scores of when Gannon won in Kansas City and when Snake won in Kansas City. I just care that they won the game. But that's the problem here, is that Raider Nation wants everything. They want 2 Max Crosbys in the draft. They want another Colt Miller. They want a top 3 quarterback. You're not going to get it. What we got to do on this broadcast is find your priorities and what you think are the key priorities going forward. Adam Sweeney says AP didn't say anything wrong. Just keep everything in-house from here on out until we start winning. Well, I think AP is going to do whatever he wants to do. I call him coach. And the coach is going to do what he wants to do, and he's got a couple of mentors helping him out with this, and he's going to figure it all out. So that's what we're talking about. That's the monologue brought to you by the DeCastroverde Law Group. If you get into an accident in Vegas, I hope you don't need them, but if you do, the brothers have your back. The brothers have your back. Orlando and Alex DeCastroverde, good friends of the show, proud partners. Alex DeCastroverde is a friend. He's a Raider season ticket holder. Do you see some of these people on the billboards with the testosterone in their neck veins and driving motorcycles, telling you they're the best attorney in town and buying these awards? Brothers don't have to do that. The brothers' legacy is through their father, who built an unbelievable law group here in town, 702-222-9999. Your reaction nationally and locally to Antonio Pierce's comments on the Max Crosby podcast. Are you good with it? Did it fire you up? What have you been doing on that? Everybody else is talking about it. We might as well talk about it noon to 2 on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Also, Bill Williamson on what's going on this offseason. A guy who has got a lot of experience with the Raiders and what they'll do next. He'll join us in 15 minutes. Yeah, everybody fired up monologue there, huh?
For one reason or the other. Sometimes it's a fall of a player, sometimes it's not. We all know the circumstances. I don't forgive every person.
Oh! Woo! No notes, just off the passion of the Raider Nation. Night Owl says AOC is just getting started. Don't sleep. All right. John Madden, yes, the Raiders are tough, dirty. What are you going to do about it? I agree. I like how they move this stuff down. This is nice. Good.
Did that yesterday.
Reserve your ride at mridelv.com. Use promo code BRICK. That's mridelv.com, promo code BRICK.
This is Raider Nation Radio 920.
Live stream working out good. We got about 50 people in this live stream, which is nice. Maybe we'll get a couple hundred people during Raider season. We'll build this thing up.
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we still doing Michael E. Minden?
I don't know.
I know meetup is done.
Yeah.
But are we still doing Michael E. Minden?
Don't know. Why, is it running?
I haven't seen any of his spots.
Yeah.
That's why I forgot to ask.
We're the DeCastroverde Brothers, and we have your back. Brothersweb.com.
You'll be amazed by all the new sleep technology making the world a better place to relax. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, one of Best Vendors, where you can sample it all. Revolutionary designs, innovative materials, and ingenious construction from Tempur-Pedic, Purple, Stearns & Foster, Posh & Lavish, Beauty Rest, and Serta. And
So,
right now, get a free
Golden Knights, Bobby. Vince Sapienza says Stone is week to week. No idea of return.
Yep.
Howden is day-to-day. Eichel has a chance to travel. Wow. How many guys are hurt on the Golden Knights?
Pretty much half the team. Next one back doesn't carry it.
Right.
The XC40 Recharge.
Don't bleach your week. That means it's going to be gone for a month.
Is fully connected, featuring the first infotainment system designed and built by Google and powered by Android. With Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store built in, along with legendary Volvo safety, it's the
Any quarterback we need is going to need O-line help. I would agree. I would agree. O-line help is going to be important. Michael says if Fields wanted Getsy to stay in Chicago, he'd still be there. I agree. But Fields is a value play. Fields is as good as any of these new quarterbacks coming out, I think. So, yeah, he's still young. I like Fields a lot as a runner. Good quarterback coach and a good offensive coordinator could get him going again, but it doesn't feel like it's a fit with Getsy.
Longer, a $500 loan costs $2.75 per day in interest. No catch, no fees. Apply at GoBeBroke.com. Give us a call or find a dollar.
I'm going to play one of Pierce's locker room speakers coming back.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Off-season wish list from Steven is to sign Chris Jones and draft Bo Nix. Chris Jones is a great player. I mean, where is he in the prime of his career? He's on the back end of his prime. He's not in the early end of his prime. He's been around a lot. He's played a lot of snaps. Yeah, I like him a lot, but I think he's going to break the bank. I don't know if the Raiders want to spend a lot of that money. But to take Chris Jones away from Kansas City and bring him to Las Vegas, that would do double damage and make the Raiders better, and it would hurt Kansas City. So I'm good with that.
Finley Chevrolet has new extended weekday service, parts, and sales hours from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m.
Is this minor league baseball that's on?
No, spring training.
Spring training. Yeah.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Comisario Tequila, the official tequila of the JT the Brick Show.
So I'm doing for one another, playing for one another, play the game the right way, passion, accountability, having fun. Tom hit on it. Probably best anybody's ever hit on it before. Trust in one another, man. Trust the coach, trust yourself, trust yourself, trust the process, and believe it. And then doing it together, man. Doing it together. With all the doubters, all the stuff they've been talking about, it's okay. We don't want to be like, we want to be respected. We don't want to be like, we want to be respected. And we've earned our respect.
Antonio Pierce, we don't want to be liked. We want to be respected. Same goes for me. Love that comment. Love that comment. Fantastic. JT, back with you. Brought to you by Tequila Comisario. The Ferrari of tequilas, the Maloof brothers and their team had a vision for a tequila, a high-end tequila, which is fantastic. The Reserve is the best I've ever had. If you want to try a new tequila, step outside your box. Try one of the best I've ever had. All my friends love it. We had it in Hawaii. We brought a bottle down there. It was fantastic. Tequila Comisario, proud partner of our show. We are live on YouTube. Easy to follow the show. They put some nice signage here in the studio, which is cool, and we're ready to roll. Just go to YouTube, JT the Brick YT, and just subscribe to that. You can catch the show. We'll do pretty much every show from here on out, unless I'm on remote. We'll do it on YouTube here as we build this. So when people say, why are you doing this? I'm just building another platform, another channel, because we have some really big podcasts with the Raiders on YouTube, Raiders Roundtable, and some of the others that we do, which we're really excited about. We take our interviews and also put it up at Raiders.com if you want to check out some of that. Raider 66 in Vegas on 920, our local station here. What's happening?
Hey, good afternoon, JT. How you doing today?
Great, buddy. What's happening?
Great. I think nothing wrong with what AP said.
Hey, well, you're not good.
Everybody said he wants to be respected. Well, Al said I'd rather be feared than respected. So they got the same thing going. But, ever since they changed the rules and they legalized the forward pass in 1906, defenses have been trying to knock down the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Al Davis said
basically the same thing, just phrased it differently. In the first few plays, the quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard. So I think next time you see AP, and you may know this already, did he take psychology in college, a couple courses? Because he may be doing a great psych job on the NFL and the Chiefs in particular. By saying what he said and the way that they manhandled the Chiefs the last time, it has put that in their head. So now with these comments that he makes, if you've got your, the Chiefs are a bunch of spoiled little kids. They've had the run of the mill for so long. Now they get their feathers ruffled. So what's going to happen? They may say, "Hey, we're going to take a cheap shot on them first before they take the cheap shot on us, and they'll get the penalty." AP's doing a great thing with psych job right now, and I think that he's proven in the 9 games that he's already had that he has got these guys playing aggressive, but with responsibility. They don't do the penalty. So the rest of the NFL is going to expect, they're going to come out cheap shot, elbows. No. AP has got to play in a different way. It's a new Raider way, and it's better. And I think that he's got something going here. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you. Raider 66, our historian, along with Raider Mort, who I talk to almost every day. I talked to Raider Mort, who's a godfather of Raider fans. I think his 60th year. I mean, Raider Mort's had season tickets from the beginning, and we debated this topic early on too. The problem with the Raiders here is they have to back it up. If you're going to talk all this bravado about taking the quarterback down and playing physical and do it, you got to do it. And Max Crosby's been doing that for a while. Malcolm Kuntz is arriving. I think there'll be a free agent that'll go after Mahomes, but you got to back it up and you got to win the game. You got to win the game. And the other big thing about this topic, which everybody says, well, the Raiders were the least penalized team last year, which is shocking. Absolutely tremendous by the coaching staff and the players to be in that category. Tremendous. Is that the Raiders gave everybody the blueprint on Christmas Day on how to beat the Chiefs with physicality and what to do. How come no one else could do it? Niners are better than the Raiders. Ravens are better than the Raiders. Buffalo's better than the Raiders. Clearly, they blew out the Raiders in Buffalo. They all got the blueprint of what the Raiders did on Christmas, and no one else could do it. That's what concerns me about this. The Raiders gave the league and the playoff teams the video of how to beat Kansas City and what to do, and no one else could do it. And they were good defenses. Baltimore's defense and the Niners' defense, man, the Niners' defense is really good. And when Greenlaw went out with that blown Achilles in the Super Bowl jumping out on the field, that was brutal. That could add an impact. I think if Greenlaw plays that whole game, that the Niners have one of the best defensive players in the league coming after Mahomes and maybe making a play or two. But that didn't happen. That opens up a line for you on Antonio Pierce's comments. I didn't do this the last couple of days because I just wanted to watch and listen. But today I said we got to talk about this because it won't go away. All the television shows and debate shows are leading with this. This was the number one story yesterday at ESPN.com on Antonio Pierce and what he said about Pat. Hey, man, let's just play a little bit harder against this one particular quarterback because he's winning everything. He's winning everything. He's got to be stopped. Will is in Denver on the Raiders mobile app. Listening. Appreciate you, Will. Go ahead.
JT, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for calling. What's happening?
I'll tell you what, I feel like Raider 66 is reading my mind, but so I won't regurgitate everything you said, but I do want to point out, something that we haven't seen happen in the Mahomes era is there's been a lot of respect for the Chiefs. There's been a lot of, he's the next Brady, all this stuff, and there hasn't been anybody that's really, and I look today, anybody that's really ruffled Patrick Mahomes' feathers in the media, and it, leading up to the Christmas game, and Jack Jones saying, hey, you stop the magician, and you stop the magic, and I'm telling you, these guys aren't used to people not respecting them, and it's not that, and I wouldn't even say as far as respect, they're not used to people questioning them or doubting them. It's kind of like the goon on the basketball court that gets after LeBron James. He's not used to that. And when that happens, it gets them out of their game. And I think, we saw it, a fumble and then a pick six. Mahomes was flustered. And whether we gave somebody a blueprint or not, I think the Raider way and the idea of kicking down doors and not asking for permission for anything, we're getting back to those days of
Yeah, I agree.
And I love it. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope that we can keep doing it again. We've seen Kelsey lose his composure, and I think the Raiders are getting under these guys again. And I think that it's something we can build on.
Yeah, it is something we can build on. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you. Out in Denver, Will. The problem is no one's backed it up. So to say that the Raiders are getting under their skin, no, they just won the Super Bowl in our building. Okay, they just won the Super Bowl in Vegas. So no one got under anybody's skin. The closest that we've seen of a team getting after Mahomes visibly was the Raiders. The Raiders and all that. And Max Crosby, if you watch the documentary Quarterbacks, when Mahomes was like, come on, Max, you're hitting me on every play late. Come on, Max. You could tell Max is trying to do everything possible, Max Crosby. And Max Crosby's podcast deserves this credit because Max's podcast got Antonio Pierce to talk about this topic that everybody's talking about today, including myself. When you're able to put a quarterback down. I remember Dwight Freeney. Remember, he was a great player. Dwight Freeney and the Colts going up against Tom Brady. Who you remember everybody used to cry about Brady? Brady would always complain about getting hit. Brady would work the refs. Do you remember any of the players that used to get to Brady and hurt him and ruffle him? I don't. Dwight Freeney is one of them. Ray Lewis talked a lot of trash. I don't remember Ray Lewis getting behind the line of scrimmage and blowing up Tom Brady. You know, Tom Brady was a lot better at the time. Not a lot better, but better than Mahomes. He was. And Brady had a lot of people saying the same thing. Oh, he's playing for the flags. He's playing for the flags. Oh, he just wants to get a flag. Brady was a smart guy, real smart guy. He knew that the refs were watching low, below his knees. When people fell into his knees, a flag would come. The difference between Brady and Mahomes, the number one, is Mahomes' ability to run. So when a guy like Lamar Jackson takes off in the field to play and doesn't slide, and Mahomes doesn't slide, you got to hit these guys hard legally. You got to rattle them and hit them hard. And I think that's what the Raiders are going to do going forward. More of your phone calls coming up. Bill Williamson will join us coming up. He has great information. We'll talk to him about Tom Telesco. What's his plan? The Raiders head to the Combine. A look ahead at what the Raiders are looking at over the next couple of weeks. We say this every year. It's the most important offseason in Raider history. Well, starting to think this could be the one. In Vegas history, not Oakland Raider history or LA Raider, but the biggest offseason in Las Vegas Raider history, that's for sure. How's everyone doing here? Discipline, salute to Tone.
Don't be afraid
to try to improve your team.
Yeah.
You've got to try to make the move to be great. And if they see great out there, they need to do everything they can to try to go get that.
Don't miss Unnecessary Roughness, weekdays at 2 on Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM.
JT from Woodson Bourbon Whiskey. Hall of Famer Charles Woodson built this legend on the gridiron, and now he's taking the same dedication to his new craft spirit line, Woodson Bourbon Whiskey.
What's up, Raider Nation? It's your boy Charles Woodson here to tell you all about my new Woodson Bourbon Whiskey. Woodson Bourbon Whiskey is both bold and smooth, and it's the perfect addition to your next tailgate party. Go to woodsonwhiskey.com to find a store near you. When it's game time, you know what to grab. Woodson Bourbon Whiskey, the official whiskey of the JT the Brick Show.
All right, everybody. Appreciate you being on the live stream.
Today, we proudly carry on that Tecasterverde family legacy.
Hey, Glenn, what's happening?
It's our heritage. It's the Tecasterverde way. We're the Tecasterverde ways, and we have your back.
Brothersweb.com.
Hey, John.
Yes, Dad?
It's Tuesday, and we're still selling lots of cars.
Of course we sell lots of cars. At Finley Toyota, we make purchasing a car super easy. From the moment the customer arrives, they are greeted by our amazing staff. Or if there's service they need, one of our top-notch service specialists will take...
I'm not into spring training, man. I'm a Yankee fan my whole life. I never really watched much spring training, Bobby. I know you like a little bit of it.
What happened to be on?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's people love spring training, man.
You know what?
Some people love it.
When I had the package and stuff, I watched a couple of spring training games like for the weekend
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I mean, half these guys are going to be playing AAA anyway. So.
The expo showcases all sorts of informational booths and displays. Enjoy the review journals live.
Everybody's asking how much is too much to give up for a top 3 quarterback. I think a top 3 quarterback is 2 first-round picks. Caleb Williams is 3. I've said that from day one. I think Jaden Daniels, if you want to get him, you got to give up the 13th pick. You got to give up another first-round pick next year in the first round, at least. Adam thinks that, Adam, you believe that the Raiders are going to sweep the Chiefs. How could you believe that knowing the Chiefs are playing for a 3-peat? You think the Chiefs playing for the most important distinction in NFL history is going to get swept by a Raider team that doesn't have a quarterback yet other than Aiden O'Connell? And Aiden won there. I give him credit. I'd like to split with the Chiefs, sweep the Chargers, and continue to sweep the Broncos. I think it's going to be hard to sweep the Broncos. We had a hell of a nice run with the Broncos. Hell of a nice run with the Broncos over the last couple of years.
Visit Audi Henderson today in the Valley Auto Mall or online at AudiHenderson.com.
This Lotus Cares message is brought to you by Lerner & Rowe Personal Injury Law Firm. February is American Heart Month, a time when all people, especially women, are encouraged to focus on their cardiovascular health. Nearly half of U.S. women do not recognize that heart disease is the leading cause of death for women.
Telesco coming back, Bill Williamson's outside.
Yeah.
This Lotus Cares message is brought to you by Lerner & Rowe, voted best personal injury law firm. Call 702-877-1500.
Get ready for a weekend of thrilling college baseball action at the inaugural Las Vegas Ballpark College Baseball Classic, March 1st through the 3rd, featuring Ohio State, Oklahoma, Cal Berkeley, and Pitt.
All right, we got Bill Williamson coming up here. We hope you can hear this. I'm holding up this headset to this microphone until we figure this out. Hopefully you guys can hear our interviews.
Get your tickets today as we make history, March 1st through the 3rd at the Las Vegas Ballpark. Visit LasVegasCBC.com for tickets and information.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Yeah, I tell you, the one thing that's kind of jumped at me, like obviously in the division, I know the Raiders pretty well, but I know them as an opponent, which is just completely different than knowing this team from being in this building. The practices every day, everything that goes into being a football player at this level. So I have a lot of learning to do right now to get up to speed with everything in the building and then get up to speed with the whole roster. Like I said, it's just a big difference knowing them as opponents and knowing them as as the GM of this team. So a lot of work to do coming up here.
Yeah.
But thankfully, AP's here, so that's going to make the transition a lot smoother.
That's Tom Telesco on what he has to do, and Tom's going to be real busy coming up here. Bill Williamson is always busy. He has great content that is out there. Follow him on Twitter and check out what he does, the work from SB Nation to all the other Silver and Black Pride and Raiders quarterback 2024, the latest on Justin Fields, Luke Getsy, Tom Telesco, and Antonio Pierce. Bill, good to talk to you. Let's start off with the activity of the Raiders filling out this coaching staff. What type of feedback have you been getting on who they hired?
Well, I mean, a lot of the changes, nothing's official, of course, in JT. Everything's approval, but we've already seen a couple changes already. But, I think the big difference is on the offensive side of the ball. A real Green Bay feel. Mike McCarthy, staff members, and we on Silver Black Friday today, one of our writers, Matt Holder, kind of looked at Mike McCarthy's offense and how Green Bay and how that might fit this offense. Because, there's Devontae Adams, the centerpiece of that offense, is now the centerpiece of the Ravens offense. Gentsy's there, Silver's there. Andrew Bennett, people look at the holdover, but he was part of that staff too. So there's a real feel of, of Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams offense coming to the Raiders, and I think that's kind of what jumps out to me the most. And then, again, there's changes on the defensive side of the ball too, especially in the back end, but really the offensive changes is what stands out.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bill, because I always wondered what Devontae's quiet here in the offseason. I don't know if he's in town or not. But does it have a feel like they ran this by Devontae? I mean, this is all about player involvement and entitlement from the NBA all the way to the NFL and other sports here. And I would say that Max Crosby and Davante Adams have a lot of say in what's going on, just getting their opinion out here. They don't make the final decision, but this looks like an offense that Davante Adams probably approves of.
Yeah, I think so. I think he certainly approves of it, but I don't know if the Davante rules. I don't think this coaching staff is here because of him, because now certainly we all know when Antonio Pierce got the job, we all know the support that he got from the players, and we know the heavy-handed support by Max Crosby, and it worked. But here's with the coaching staff, you got to remember that Cliff Kingsbury was the first choice. That's clear. That can't be denied, and Davante Adams doesn't have a history with Cliff Kingsbury. So I don't think it would be fair to say Davante Adams is the reason why this coaching staff is here. I think there's some coincidence, circumstance, but certainly there's a history there, and moving forward, it's a storyline.
Bill Williamson's our guest. Yeah, and the big storyline is, and they're talking about it on ESPN and First Take and all these other shows, will Davante love this team if they don't get him a new quarterback? Or did you see a lot of chemistry with Aiden O'Connell? And where do you stand, Bill? You got a lot of experience covering this team for over 27 years on what your gut tells you about getting a quarterback. If it seems to me it's going to be really expensive to move up to get into the top 3 or 4, but I think this is the year that it's finally worth doing it.
Yeah, I mean, next year's rookie class is supposed to be very good. It's really interesting. It's, the careers are made and roomed on these type of decisions. You never know with quarterbacks. I mean, I don't know if these 3 guys I'm talking about, Williams, Bay, and Daniels, are all surefire guys. I don't know. I mean, every year that was a group of guys, and every year one of those top guys, it doesn't work out. And all you have to do is look at the recent history. So, I don't know. It's risky. I mean, it's speculation today. That's going to cost 3 number 1s to get up to the top 3. That's a lot, especially if it doesn't work out. If it works out, hey, cool, because it's all about the quarterback. That's clear. But we'll see. It's a tough spot for Tom Telesco to be in, but it's also an opportunity for him as well. And, last year, they're in a situation that, the previous regime, and they couldn't get it done. They didn't think it was, worth it, and they ended up getting Garoppolo, and that was a flop. So there's no real guarantees. And I would argue in the veteran class quarterback this year, it's weaker than last year's. So, I mean, you go after Kirk Cousins, you try to get a Justin Fields, you see if you can get Russell Wilson. I mean, I don't know the answer, but they're going to have to figure it out. If they try to really go for the home run and get a guy like James Daniels, it'll be interesting, but there's no guarantee that he'd even be there. If say you make the trade with the Patriots in, April 2nd, and the Washington Commanders, they take him at number 2, and then you got maybe Drake May there. Maybe you wouldn't have made that trade for Drake May. So there is a lot going on. There's a lot to consider.
silverandblackpride.com, Bill Williamson, longtime friend of the show. All right, Bill, 2 things. First off, the Jimmy Garoppolo and how he helped the Raiders going forward with this PED suspension. I haven't talked to you since with what it does for the cap and going forward. This is a big deal. Is this a real big gift from the Raider gods for this team to have that extra cash to go shopping?
Sure. I mean, it's what, $10 million extra. It doesn't hurt. But, at the end of the day, there is some dead money there, and it was a flop of a move. But, yeah, it is. I mean, there is certainly a silver lining here for the Raiders moving forward because of what he's facing, sure.
And the last one, which is really important to me, on Russell Wilson. I've always been a fan of Russell Wilson. He's a great player. He's a Walter Payton Man of the Year. I know what he does in the community and outside the community, which is almost second to none. I'd be very interested in him at the veteran minimum. I mean, this is a guy 2 years ago cost $200 million to talk to. And you probably wouldn't get him at $200 million. You had to go to $235. And now if you get him at a veteran minimum of something ridiculous, what Raider fan could ever argue that? Getting him for like 10 cents on the dollar compared to paying over the price to get him a couple of years ago. What's brewing on that topic?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that should be popular. You know, that's going to happen soon. Russell Wilson's going to happen soon. Kirk Cousins is going to certainly happen about that first Monday or Tuesday, you know, in 2.5 weeks. We'll see. I mean, any team can say, hey, I don't know if you're going to get him for a minute. There's probably going to be some little incentives there that can boost it up.
Right.
You know, if he does become above average quarterback. And you could argue that he was
Yes.
last year. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I think any team that needs a quarterback would have him, you know, on their list.
Absolutely. Bill, we'll talk to you after the combine. A lot of good content. Appreciate your time today. You got it. Bill Williamson joining us. Hey, the thing about Russell Wilson, I mean, if the guy's available for nothing other than incentives, you got to be pretty ridiculously out of touch to not think that he's one of the great quarterbacks of the last 20 years. Still young, completely healthy, knows the division, and kind of got screwed over by Denver. I mean, like, the coach came in there and basically said, we don't want you. And the guy ended up having a pretty good year. All right. So with all this stuff, again, with Russell Wilson, I'm not saying he's coming. I don't think he's a fit. I don't. I think the priority is getting a quarterback in the draft. He's pretty good. Thor. Is Thor still available? We get him up here, Raider Nation Drinking Club. What's happening? Go ahead, buddy. What's happening?
I love Antonio Pierce's comments. Honestly, we've been crap for so long. Let's put that out there in the air that we are going to come around and we're going to smack you in the head. I mean, obviously, it might put a target on our back. So what? We've been bad for a while now. Let's get it. I want a target on our back. I want to go out there with people mad at us, gunning for us, and show them who we are. Raider Nation, man, let's go. I love it, JT. I love it, man. I know you also were asking about Justin Fields. You know, if Justin Fields comes, I'm good with it. I'm good with drafting the quarterback in the first round. I'm good with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I just want it to work out. It's all a gamble, so if you're going to go ahead and gamble, let's move up in the top 3. Let's pray to God it works out. But again, there's not that big of a risk because we haven't been great for 20 plus years, right? So let's go take a shot, man. We need this before we get too old. We can't even remember what happened.
Thank you, Thor. I agree with what Thor said, friend of the show, and also on YouTube, Raider Nation Drinking Club. Go follow them. The Raiders haven't been a Super Bowl contender in a long time. This could be the year to take the shot. If you draft a quarterback in the first couple of picks, you're not going to the Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback, probably year one, unless you have Dan Marino in the hot tub time machine, but it's worth taking a shot. Hey, this is the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. I want to talk about that next hour, plus Levi Edwards. We are live on YouTube, JT the Brick YT. Please go and subscribe and check out what we're doing here. All right, boys and girls, we'll keep this going a little bit. I'm going to do another monologue, and then I'm going to bail out. The classic Bobby cigarette break. Yes, Bobby gets his cigarette break. I get some water, and we will be back here momentarily. Talk amongst yourselves.
Send an email.
Jose hit big, and so can you with Gambler's Bonus. It's why you play the game.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste. Brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
Hey, it's JT since 1995. The Black Hole Fan Club has been the foundation of the nation with over 40 chapters worldwide. If you bleed silver and black and want to connect with other diehard fans, then visit theblackhole.com and become an official member of football's most notorious fans. You'll get a Black Hole members-only shirt, 20% off all merchandise, and much, much more. Plus, you'll get exclusive access to member-only events and tickets. Become an official member of the Black Hole today. Visit theblackhole.com.
Liberty Mutual presents How to Get Ahead at Work.
It's simple. Just ask for a meeting with your supervisor. While you're discussing the latest sales reports, just slip into the conversation that you customized your home insurance with Liberty Mutual and saved hundreds. Whoa! The business savvy you showed saving hundreds of dollars on home insurance will have you running seminars on saving money in no time.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com. Based on recent survey of new customers who switched and saved, underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty. Calling all hockey fans. Watch the puck drop in the all-new nighttime hockey bar at M Resort Spa Casino. Featuring a full menu, private rooms, tons of TVs, and the best local, Canadian, and classic brews all on tap. This is your new game day spot for all the night hockey action. Ice, action, brews, a natural hat trick. Nighttime hockey bar now open at M Resort. M Resort, the official team headquarters hotel of the Henderson Silver Knights.
You know, a lot of lawyers who advertise here don't even live here. If they say Nevada, they're not from around here. If they think our capital is Las Vegas, they're not from around here. I'm Richard Harris, and I am from Nevada. I grew up here, I went to school here, I raised my family here. No one knows Nevada like we do. If you've been injured, call me, Richard Harris, of the Richard Harris Law Firm, 444-4444, just in case.
Warm up this winter with a Portisub Spectacular Sub Assortment Tray. Choose 5 different classic subs of your favorite bread with your favorite fresh veggie toppings and sauces. Order yours from Portisubs.com or download the app for easy ordering and freshness at your fingertips.
Are you ready to experience the epitome of luxury? Look no further than Tobin Motor Cars, Las Vegas's only super luxury multi-franchise dealership. Find the finest selection of Ferrari, Maserati, Bentley, Aston Martin, Rolls-Royce, Karma, and more. Lease a brand new Maserati Gray Collie for just $669 per month. Explore the full selection of new and pre-owned luxury vehicles at TobinMotorCars.com. Tobin Motor Cars, Ottawa, Sahara. $699 plus tax per month, $39.99 down for 36 months. Only see store for details. Expires 2/29/2024.
Great cities are built on strong foundations. The skilled members of Laborers Local 872 never stop building. From the asphalt on our roads, the concrete in our buildings, the solar fields powering the economy, and everything in between to work safely.
Yeah.
Laborers Local
Wanna get into this
872 is
Miracle on Ice
modernizing the
topic?
Nevada workforce and building a global city. The future is Union Strong.
We're back.
Wake up with the morning tailgate with Clay Baker. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, KLOE Las Vegas.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by Modelo.
Matter of fact, I'll
Especial,
throw to that.
the new #1.
I'll throw to
beer
the,
in
yeah.
US.
Okay, let's do this. How about when we get to the Miracle, then I'll go take care of the lady.
Yeah. Hey, one topic I'm going to hit on here this hour, Miracle on Ice, the anniversary. I don't know how old you are. 44 years ago. What is the greatest sporting event? Not your personal favorite, but the greatest sporting event of your lifetime. We're going to get into that. Greatest sporting event of your lifetime. Miracle on Ice, Ali Frazier, Red Sox 2004. You get where I'm going.
JT the Brick.
Too many people are getting comfortable. Smarter, faster, more explosive players who are disruptors. Everything that you could read that was negative and wasn't positive.
Cubs 2016. That's a good one.
First 5 minutes of the show, and I do it 5 days a week on my radio show. There's no sugarcoating here. You're a Raider fan. Act like it. Get behind the team.
And now,
Here's JT the
Welcome back. JT back with you. Brought to you by Resorts World, the super resort right there on the Strip. Have you been there lately? They're activating more and more of the property, from their retail shops to all the great bars and restaurants that they have there. I love Doghouse Saloon. It's a fantastic place to be. Doghouse Saloon has a sports book in the sports bar, which is really a nice concept here in town. One of the things I don't like about Vegas is when you go to a casino and the sports book is in the middle of the casino. I'm not a fan of that. I like the sports book tucked away where you got to go find it, and then you can sit with sports fans, and it doesn't get in the way of the vibe of the casino, because quite frankly, you know, I'm not a big sports book guy. I'm not. I don't go to the sports book unless I got friends in town, and I don't spend 9 hours a day in a sports book. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But you know, Bobby, all the gamblers realize if they spend 9 hours in a sports book, you know, some people make $100 an hour, $45 an hour, $50 an hour at a job. We got construction workers, police officers, school teachers. If you're going to sit in the sports book 9 hours a day, you better be right more than 54% of the time, because you don't get paid to sit in that seat. unless you're winning. And again, I love Doghouse Saloon because you can go there, you can eat, you can watch, you can listen to music. They got shows, and then you just slide into the sports book and place your bets. Head on out to Resorts World. Good weekend. Weather's great today. I got up this morning, and I did not know today was the 44-year anniversary of Miracle on Ice. Miracle on Ice, the United States beating the Soviets to go on to win the gold medal in Olympic hockey. I believe, this is me personally, and I want everybody to think about this because this is a topic I'm throwing out. I believe this is the biggest sporting event of my lifetime. Okay, I'm in my mid-50s. I look at life. Secretariat winning the Belmont and the Triple Crown. Secretariat and the dominance is on the Mount Rushmore. You can't take it away. Don't tell me you can take that. You cannot take Secretariat and the Miracle on Ice off that. Those two have to stay. Now, I got people saying Cubs of 2016, 2004 Red Sox, whatever it is. I'm not talking about what you believe is your favorite. So please listen to the topic. It's not what you think is the best moment of your life. It's what is actually the biggest moment. Ali Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Bigger than anything that's ever happened in UFC. Are you joking? Ali Frazier, you compare that to UFC what? What? With Tito Ortiz, you compare to Ali Frazier? Have you lost your mind? So I believe Miracle on Ice 44 years ago. Let's listen to this. Hopefully it brings back, if you were alive during that time, great memories. There it is. Al Michaels on the call on ABC. I remember that like it was yesterday. I was in high school in 1980, a freshman, I believe, and to watch that, played roller hockey, come from a hockey community. You know, the Islanders, the New York Islanders won the Stanley Cup all 4 years I went to high school, 4 in a row. And on that soundbite, you heard a guy by the name of Ken Morrow, the defenseman, who cleared the puck playing on the Olympic team, Ken Morrow. And then right after Ken Morrow won the Stanley Cup, he won when he won the Miracle on Ice game, then he went to the NHL and won 4 cups in a row. That'll never happen. Never happen in any sport. Imagine winning the College World Series and then winning the World Series in baseball 4 years in a row. That's a record that will never, ever be broken. Imagine winning the college football championship game and then winning 4 Super Bowls in a row. Never going to happen. So Miracle on Ice was incredible because it was on tape delay. So the result already happened, but it wasn't at a time. That's just when ESPN started, that a lot of people didn't know about it. And everybody tuned in for that game. And Herb Brooks gave one of the greatest pregame speeches ever. If they're going to play 10 times, we probably lose 9 out of 10 times, but we're going to win tonight. I paraphrase, the speech is unbelievable. And that, to me, in my lifetime, is number one. The number one greatest sporting achievement in sports in my lifetime was 44 years ago today, Miracle on Ice, because of the Cold War. Now you talk about Russia and Putin and Tucker Carlson or this, people get wildly nuts and triggered and become lunatics. Back then, we didn't root for Russia. We wanted to beat Russia more than anything, more than a baseball rivalry or football rivalry. Nothing was more important than that. And a bunch of guys who came together, bunch of guys from a bunch of small to mid-size and a couple of bigger hockey universities came together as pure amateurs and beat the Soviets. And the Soviets were dominant and great. So I wanted to open that up this hour. If you want to call in on that, we got to mix it up here, man. We just can't talk Raiders when there's no Raider news. This is bigger than the Raiders today. It's the 44-year anniversary of Miracle on Ice. You name me a bigger sporting event than that in your lifetime. In your lifetime, something that had a bigger impact. And don't make it a homer thing. Because Ali Frazier, on my Mount Rushmore of the all-time greatest sporting events ever, was Ali Frazier one for the magnitude of the people that watched. Probably Miracle on Ice, I said, is one for me. Secretariat winning the Triple Crown is on most people's list. And then you go to the Super Bowls, right? And then what's the biggest Super Bowl, the most impactful one? It might have been Joe Namath, Super Bowl III, as the AFL comes through and wins the Super Bowl with the Jets and Joe Namath's guarantee. There's been other great guarantees in hockey. Mark Messier's guarantee heading into the Game 6 against the Devils, a whole bunch of other things that are personal. But for me, what happened at Lake Placid 44 years ago today in 1980, I believe goes down as the greatest sporting moment of my lifetime. And I'm in my 50s. If you're in your 30s, you didn't see it live. If you're in your 20s, you got to go YouTube it. You don't understand the ramification of what it meant, right? I've seen other people come in on the live stream on YouTube. Tyson versus Douglas, February 11th, 1990. That was big. You know, boxing, it's hard to top anything in boxing that had to do with Muhammad Ali. It's very difficult to top that. And when it comes to the greatest sporting event, I think what made Miracle on Ice so special is that it was amateur athletes going up against the professional Soviets who were mature, better, legendary team. And I don't even think they took the United States lightly. They knew it was the United States on the other side. They were playing hockey. The Soviets were playing in America in the tiny town of Lake Placid, which I've been to. And for the Soviets, they didn't take us lightly. They just got outplayed. Got a couple of breaks in the game, a couple of big goals. Michael Ruzioni, the great game that was played overall, and it was the perfect storm of what happens in sports. Night Owl comes in and says the Lakers three-peat would be mine. I don't think the Lakers three-peat was in the top 20 moments in the history of sports because there were so many bigger things than that. For Laker fans, it was big. You know, Laker fans had Kobe and Shaq and Phil Jackson and Pau Gasol. But that three-peat, you know, when you look at what happened overall, that's a pretty big deal. So I believe that there are moments in our lifetime in sports that bring us together nationally. And most of it has to do with the Olympics, because in the Olympics, we're all on the same team. We're all rooting for the United States. We're not relevant in the World Cup. I think the women winning the World Cup is one of the great moments in sports history. I really do. I think that's unbelievable. So those who are saying Hagler Hearns was 3 rounds. It wasn't 15 rounds, Ali Frazier. It wasn't, with Frank Sinatra being the photographer that night ringside. I think Michael Phelps winning his Olympic gold medals. I don't have the exact number. Mark Spitz winning 7 golds in 72. Fabian jumps in with that, I agree. Those are the moments that transcend the global world of sports more than the regional and the local side of sports. Right? Look, Golden Knights winning a Stanley Cup, I was there for that. One of the great moments of my life. It's great, but the rest of the country doesn't care about it. They don't care about it in the rest of the country. We do here in Vegas. So you got to find something that everybody cares about. And the Miracle on Ice in 1980 was so breathtaking. It was such a brilliant achievement that it just changed sports forever right after that. Anybody who lived through that game and watched that game overall said, oh my God, what just happened? And it brought us together as a country because of the fear of nuclear war coming with Russia, the Soviet Union, a communist country. And everybody was on edge for that game. And the way television looks today and how we get our information, that was on tape delay. Again, that was on tape delay. It would have been a little bit more different than live, but it didn't affect me. When I watched it, I thought it was live. No, my mom and dad didn't tell me it was on tape delay. My mom and dad didn't tell me who won the game. And when we watched it, my dad had no interest in hockey. My dad, on a scale of 1 to 10, is at a 0 with hockey. Gets a little bit of this Golden Knight stuff now with his grandsons out here. He has other grandsons who are Ranger fans, but my dad doesn't care for hockey. I remember watching that with my dad 44 years ago, 13 years old, watching this saying, oh my God, this is one of the greatest moments of my life as a fan. And the next day we went out there and played roller hockey on Pine Street in North Massapequa. I remember like it was yesterday, and we all were playing roller hockey like we were Olympic champions. It had a big impact on my life. 2 of the biggest events of my life that I attended, I didn't attend Lake Placid, obviously, but attending Super Bowl 25, wide right, when the Giants beat the Bills. Scott Norwood, wide right. It was one of the most important. I wouldn't be on the radio talking to you today if I wasn't at that game. That game changed me. But the Olympics, when you saw Nadia Comaneci, who wasn't from our country, with the perfect 10, or you saw Mary Lou Retton or some of the other performances, Michael Phelps is really on the short list. But where were you 44 years ago today for the Miracle on Ice? And one last cool story on that. A couple of years ago, the Golden Knights welcomed the 1980 Olympic hockey team here. And my memory from this going back, I think it was 4 years ago because it was a 40th anniversary, if I'm right. And if I'm wrong, please correct me or tweet at me. But the Miracle on Ice guys came out here for a promotion and it fell apart. They had money behind it. Someone put the trip together, hotel rooms for these guys. This is how these guys make money. They sign their name. These guys always go to card shows and sign pucks and do that. That's how they make a living, some of them. Anyway, so they had this promotion here, and we're doing something with them on radio, and I find out from one of the players that the promotion fell apart. The money fell out. So these guys weren't going to get paid, or something happened with their hotel rooms. They had a dinner that wasn't paid for. It was really shady. And I was like, oh, my God. So the night that they were paid tribute to by the Golden Knights, I went to that game. And I got a credential, and I went to the game, and I saw some of the guys hanging around. And that night after the game, I walked across. I got a tip that they're all going to be hanging out at the old Monte Carlo, the Park MGM at the Center Bar. And I went there with a couple of my buddies, and we drank with those guys hard. Those guys were drinking beer, shots. Everyone was coming up to them, buying them a drink and a shot. I said to Ken Morrow, who's a hero of mine, he won 4 Stanley Cups in that game. I go, Kenny, this is pretty cool. Because I've interviewed him before, and he goes, yeah, this happens every time we get together. And those guys were like rock stars. I mean, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Mark Messier, a different level of hockey player. These guys, when they got together, were absolutely rock stars. So when it comes to a sports moment at the time, that was incredible to me. Never forget it. 44 years ago, it's a trending topic today. Miracle on Ice. And that was a good movie. Kurt Russell played Herb Brooks. That was a good movie. Matter of fact, I might go back and watch that later tonight with my son, because I don't think he's seen it before. Miracle on Ice was a well-done movie, sports movie by Kurt Russell. 702-365-9200. Mitch in Sacramento. Go ahead, Mitch. What's happening?
Hey, JT. Big time fan.
Thank you.
Just wanted to chime in on the biggest historic moments. Look, I'm 31 years old. I haven't lived through some crazy world impacting events, but I have to agree. Like I'm a sports buff, so I like to read on these things, and that consensus is definitely that Miracle on Ice is number 1, right? And then Frasier is number 2. And you could argue that it could be flip flop. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you. But I'm just listening. I'm thinking, man, if I had a time machine to go back and see something that would impact me, just knowing and hearing about it before. I grew up and was able to even learn about these things from the people that raised me. I go back and watch the play, Cal Berkeley, that impacted people that raised me. They were talking about it for years. MJ the Shot, like things like that. But yeah, I have to agree with you. Ali Frazier, if I could watch that, would be number 1 on my list for sure. And then not too big in the hockey, because that's something that obviously impacted the world the way it did. And, I definitely would have loved to have been a witness to that. So appreciate you talking about that today, man.
Yeah, I got to mix things up. It's a dead zone. There's nothing going on. I got to mix things up and talk about Miracle on Ice, because it's an important story that brings us together. And for that gentleman who just called, who's in his 30s, you didn't see it. So you got to go watch it on YouTube. And you go watch the game on YouTube tonight. Watch Miracle on Ice 44 years ago on YouTube and watch it. But the problem is it's not going to have the impact on you that it had on us who were living at the time and understood the Cold War. And the fact that the Soviets were so great. The Soviets played us. There's documentaries on it. They played the United States in a build-up to that, those exhibition games, and just killed us. I think it was 10-3. One of the games, 10. We had no chance. What made Miracle on Ice so great, Al Michaels on the call, do you believe in miracles? We had no chance to win. 0, it felt like, and we win the game. That's what makes sports So incredible. And it brought the country together. Do you have anything you could compare that to? You know, a couple of people have said on the live stream, Henry Aaron breaking Babe Ruth's record. Yes, that was big. An African-American in the Deep South breaking Babe Ruth's record, not on steroids, not on performance-enhancing drugs, under the pressure of death threats, where every at-bat was looked at with that magnitude. Breaking Babe Ruth's home run record for Henry Aaron. Absolutely a moment in American history that would, for me, be in the top 10. I don't know. I wouldn't have it on the Mount Rushmore because the Secretariat length of victory at the Belmont and the importance of that for the Triple Crown will never be topped. Even with Triple Crown winners, that'll never be topped. And I really believe you got to go to the Olympic Games. Maybe 2 of the top 4 moments on Mount Rushmore are the Olympics, because the Olympics are bigger than sports, professional sports overall. And when I'm talking about this topic of professional sports, what brought the country together? Not the Kansas City Chiefs. Why do you think I've been going knucklehead crazy over Kansas City and the Swifties and Taylor Swift? And she brought her jet to go to Hawaii to get Travis Kelce yesterday to bring him to Australia. I saw that coming, man. I saw that coming. The Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl did not bring America together. Miracle on Ice did. Ali Frazier did, right? The Rumble in the Jungle. You got to have on the short list. It's got to be Miracle on Ice and something with Ali. Something with Ali. And then Tiger Woods Masters. His first Masters where he lapped the field. That's up there. I mean, Tiger Woods winning the Masters, his first one, in front of his dad, Earl Woods, and mom, and destroying the field. I'd put Tiger in my top 5, 6, or 7. I would. Tiger Woods brought the world together for golf. Fred Couples didn't. Great guy. You know, John Rahm, good golfer, didn't bring the world together the way Tiger Woods did. So when you look at these topics, Carl Lewis and his dominant wins. Mark Spitz is up there too in 72, because that was shocking too. No one knew who Mark Spitz was. Bruce Jenner. Bobby, that's another one I have here. Bruce Jenner winning the decathlon in 76. Oh my God, how did we not know that? Bruce Jenner coming out of nowhere to win that and changing the way we advertise with Wheaties and changing the way the amateur athlete got paid after winning. But Michael Phelps is there because he was so dominant. Phelps just shattered every record, shattered it, and put up numbers in the Olympics that'll never be touched by a male swimmer again. Al in Colorado Springs on the flagship of the Raiders. What's going on, Al? I'm doing well.
I just caught up with part of what you was
Mm-hmm.
and what I thought about was when Muhammad Ali fought George Foreman.
Yeah.
I think that most of the country didn't think that Muhammad Ali had a chance against Muhammad Ali, especially the way he destroyed George Frazier. And I think, you know, the way
George Foreman.
George Foreman.
Yes.
George Foreman. I mean, Muhammad Ali didn't have a chance against George Foreman, and especially the way George Foreman destroyed Joe Frazier. That's it. Just enjoy the show, man. Just look, man.
Thank you. Appreciate the kind words. Thank you very much. I enjoy you calling in and listening. Yeah, Muhammad Ali had the biggest impact of any athlete in my lifetime. Miracle on Ice had the biggest impact of any sporting moment in my lifetime. You get what I'm saying here? It's different. Like, you know, Bobby's a Red Sox fan, the curse of the Bambino. So for 2004, you went through my Yankees as my Yankees collapsed and you won. So for the Red Sox fans, that is the greatest moment clearly in Red Sox history, but it did not galvanize. Yankee fans hated it, so it didn't bring the world together. It brought Red Sox fans together.
You know, I don't know about that, but the one thing I can say is I was back in Boston about 6 weeks after they won. And man, I had to go to a funeral. Long story short, go to the cemetery. There were Red Sox hats, pennants, every single. And this thing went on and on the entire cemetery. It was amazing. I've never seen anything like that. I don't know if that galvanizes the world. It sure galvanized New England at that point.
Well, it was one of the biggest moments in baseball history because of the curse of the Bambino, going 86 years without winning and winning. Same thing with the Cubs. As people talk about the Cubs, I mean, the Cubs overall was amazing. As Fabian says in the live stream, you can't forget Jackie Robinson and the color barrier. Absolutely. No doubt about it. That's on that list. When it comes to race issues in sports, no doubt that moves it up. But there were so many good moments. Pilo Na says it's like Rocky IV, USA versus USSR. Yeah, Rocky versus Drago. That's why they made the movie. They made the movie because of Miracle on Ice. Sylvester Stallone talked about that. They saw the impact on Miracle on Ice and eventually got around to it in a Rocky movie. I want to play the soundbite that just came in. Mike Greenberg on ESPN. We just got this. This is breaking news. And again, Mike Greenberg, big guy in sports media, no doubt. With ESPN, he was asked about what's going on with Antonio Pierce and the Kansas City Chiefs. This just came in.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like it. I don't like hearing it. And if I'm the league, I'm doing something about it. And I'll tell you why. Protecting the quarterbacks is the most important thing the NFL can do. Patrick Mahomes is the most important player in football. He's as important a player as football has had in a long time. He is right there with Brady and Peyton Manning and Brett Favre as a draw. There is no bigger draw right now in the sport than Patrick Mahomes. Maybe Taylor Swift is the only bigger draw than Mahomes is. You cannot have coaches preaching, hurting him. And I understand that he's not going to go so far as to say hurt him, but I'm telling you right now, if I'm Roger Goodell, I'm calling Antonio Pierce. I don't mean to be a fuddy-duddy on this, but I'm going to say, listen, I'm going to instruct my officials to be keeping a close eye on Patrick in your games because of what you said. And if I see anything I don't like, we're throwing flags on every freaking play. You want 15 yards on every play? I'll give you 15 yards on every freaking play. You're going to knock out our moneymaker, mine and yours? I'm not interested in it.
That's ridiculous. That is a fuddy-duddy. Said, I don't want to be a fuddy-duddy. That's ridiculous what he just said.
Yeah.
Because Antonio Pierce said what he said on Max Crosby's podcast, and Mike Greenberg is saying, I'll throw a flag on every play. Give me a break. That's the essence of soft
Triggered.
Football.
Triggered.
He's triggered by something. He's soft, and that's what he's doing. That is ridiculous commentary directed at the Raider Nation by Mike Greenberg, a very successful sports host, very successful in radio, in the world that I live in, and in TV. No problem with that. Not taking anything, but what he just said there was ridiculous. Ridiculous. And that's why we turned around that sound so quickly and had it here for you to hear first. That's Mike Greenberg on Antonio Pierce's comments. Wow. Levi Edwards is going to join us. PGN 922 says, crybaby Jet fans. Adam says, that's crazy. Well, it is, but that's why we talk about it on the Raider flagship. We have our own flagship station, and we love it. We're brought to you by Remy Martin, Team Up for Excellence, on this 44-year anniversary of A Miracle on Ice, which was excellence. We toast Remy Martin. All right, everybody, I'm out. Good to see everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Usually go about an hour and 15. We went an hour 30 today. Thanks to everybody who joined in. We'll do it again tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. Please hit the like button right now before I get out of here. Hit the like button for me, please. Please subscribe, and please tell your friends about it. You know, Raider Nation, you're all I got here in these 2 hours. So if you can spread this YouTube feed to everybody else, invite some of your friends to join us, and keep going. We really appreciate everybody, man. Thank you for doing this. Really appreciate you. Thanks.